Hey traders, the Chart Guys Swing Report newsletter is currently live. In the description of this video, there are two links. The first is to the sign up page where you can also get emailed an example of a previous copy. And the second is to an in-depth video to let you know exactly what the Swing Report entails. Appreciate your attention. Let's get on to the charts. Hello MJ traders, checking in on the USMJ sector, not covering Canadian names because I personally am not interested in the Canadian names. I still watch them every day to see if something is showing up, but it's very clear that the momentum is with the USMJ names for good reason. We have the election coming up that is currently 2.5 months away. That's a short-term catalyst, fundamentally speaking. It's also a catalyst to get on the news, to get hype, to get people interested. Canada does not have that in the short term. Will those names benefit from changes in laws in the US? Yes, they will. But it's very clear what's going on over the last couple months. And as long as that's the case, we're going to focus on USMJ. What is worth noting is that APHA, in my opinion, is the lead technical bull out of the major Canadian MJ names, as it is still in a weekly uptrend at this point. And today was a nice example where it was up 2% and all of its peers were red. So we are on a bit of a FOMO run. And I say that because I know there are many traders who want in USMJ right now and who are on the sidelines. And I'm talking about people that I know personally. I'm talking about Chart Guys members that are posting and wondering where to be looking for entries. So I assume that those in my little bubble are multiplied many times over when we're looking at big picture on the whole of things. I am viewing this sector currently compartmentalized by the names that are on higher exchanges, the US MSO leaders, everybody else. Those are the three categories that I'm looking at. Why isn't GWPH on this list? It had a bearish reaction to earnings. I don't care about it right now. It's in a daily and a weekly downtrend. IIPR is on the NYSE, and it's been on a daily bull run that is very similar to the bull run that we've been looking at in our US MSOs. So IIPR is looking right back at the all-time high. Very limited resistance, 130, a gap to fill at 132.31, and then the all-time high, we'll just call it 140. And where we stand right now, looking at the weekly time frame, compare all of these USMJ charts to SPY, because it is the same chart, it just looks a little bit different. What is different about it? Well, let's go what's the same about it. Weekly consolidation happened at the same point in time. We topped out to start June. We consolidated all of June. We saw continuation early to mid-July, and it's been all bulls since then. That was SPY. Look at IIPR. Topped out early June, consolidated all through June, consolidated into mid-July. Bull break was a bit delayed behind SPY, but its bull break is getting more follow-through. It's more significant. You need a lot more money to move SPY than you need to move any of these individual names. And we'll go through and look at these weekly time frames, but look at TCNNF, TRUL, which has been at all-time highs. The last weekly consolidation that we saw was in early June, and it's been nothing but bulls since then. So the takeaway from that is, in my opinion, we've got 2.5 months until the election. I'm going to be looking for the hype to continue until then, keeping in mind that the more clear polls get, and I've got a video going all over all of this. If you look up, USMJ voting season for stocks on our channel, it's probably the third video on the MJ playlist right now. But we're looking for the bull momentum to continue, and in my opinion, if we are going to see weekly consolidation in this sector, it will probably have to be because the S&P 500 is seeing weekly consolidation. The S&P 500 is knocking at all-time highs. Remember when the Canadian MJ sector exploded? SPY was at all-time highs, and we had a fundamental reason for the run-up and hype. We are now seeing the stars align for the same thing in the USMJ space. The question is, can the S&P 500 keep this strength and prevent from weekly consolidation for the next couple months? I would be surprised. I am looking for weekly consolidation in the S&P 500 sometime in the next 8 weeks, but I also know there's going to be a lot of bulls looking to buy weekly higher lows in a lot of these names. If they get the opportunity to do so, I will be one of them. I have been short-term trading this sector, but I will be looking for a longer-term entry on weekly consolidation. You have to determine if you want to be aggressive or patient. Aggressive bulls are going to be looking to enter on first hourly oversold conditions. After significant bull runs, they're going to be looking to enter on daily higher lows. Patient bulls are going to wait for weekly higher lows, and they might miss the move. You have to determine which is best for your risk to reward profile. So IIPR, anything on the daily time frame over 111.69 is a daily high or low. We can pull back about 9% and still be in a daily uptrend. We're in a pattern of a higher low every day for most days. Look at the pattern here where we have a big bull move, very quick daily higher low, and then every single day from that point we have a higher low. 7 days in a row, very quick daily higher low. Every day from that point we see a higher low. We've closed at the high today. We have an hourly uptrend as a guide. We have a daily uptrend as a guide. And as long as we hold 111.69 next time we consolidate, we will not be looking for weekly consolidation. We have to lose daily uptrends to be looking for weekly higher lows. Let's talk about dollar volume. Dollar volume is extremely important in this sector. And we are seeing, again, the people that are interested in the MJ sector right now are retail traders, very high risk hedge funds and groups. And there are a lot of people that are not interested in this space right now. We have an ETF that is potentially coming here to give MSO exposure. And we can look to YOLO as an example of how this new and upcoming ETF may structure itself. So giving a shout out to TheChartGuys members, Mr. Goodbear, because he worded this better than I could. So rather than trying to put it into my own words, just going to give him credit and read a little bit from his post, which was the loophole that YOLO owns MSOs indirectly through the use of total return swap contracts, which essentially means a contract that says, okay, we're going to pay you this much money to have access to these contracts, but you're going to pay us based on the movement of the underlying assets. So essentially, the contracts are going to track those underlying assets. The NYSE imposes a 20% cap on unlisted OTC swaps. So it's misleading to call it an MSO fund given that cap. YOLO holds 4 MSOs, TRUL, GTII, CURA, and CL. Those are our 4 leaders that we've been focused on. And there's a combined fund weight of 20% in YOLO. His guess is this fund will look similar, given that the same guy is managing both funds. The largest U.S. holdings in YOLO as of Friday, GRWG, TCNNF, GTBIF. Given the strength lately, there is possibility to the theory that the fund may be buying ahead of the launch. Fund can also invest up to 25% in pharmaceuticals. So again, MSO ETF, a little bit misleading. So that's going to potentially give a little bit more dollar volume to the sector, a little bit more volatility, a little bit more liquidity. And we need dollar volume. And in my opinion, we have these US MSOs trading, looking at about, $5 million is a solid day. And now we're seeing things increase a little bit with this bull run. And we're seeing names like TRUL put up $10, $20 million a day, and we're upping it a tier. And myself, as a personal retail trader, I would be trading CGC positions that are 5 times larger than I would be trading any of these US MSOs because of liquidity, because of the ability to use market orders, the ability to use stop losses. There's so many advantages to trading an NYSE or NASDAQ name that we don't have with the OTC, but I will trade with more capital if you give me more liquidity. And we're seeing more liquidity, so I'm now more open to day trading these names. I'm now more open to larger position sizes, and that's all a good thing. So, I'm not going to talk much about the votes and what to be expecting. I already did a whole video on that. Again, go look at that. If you are interested, I'll link it in the description of this video. GRWG. So GRWG definitely was noteworthy before the earnings reaction, but this is what I'm talking about in terms of leveling up. And we are now, as far as I'm considered, we're at all-time highs. We have this one day where we went up with a big upper wick to $20, but it was on very low volume, very illiquid. And as far as I'm concerned, as soon as we got over resistance of 994, it's pretty much blue sky breakout. And what is the most notable thing here is obviously the earnings reaction is absolutely massive, going up 70% in 3 days. But the dollar volume, we are now trading $200 million plus dollars. It is on the NASDAQ. So I'm lumping it in with GWPH and IIPR. It's not an OTC name and it's not an MSO. This is more of the pick and shovels comparison to gold mining. They're selling the picks and the shovels, the lights and the grow systems and all that. But they're getting so much interest With the dollar volume that we are seeing in blue sky breakout, at this point, you don't want to be entering. What you want to be doing is watching for our back burner trades, first 5-minute oversold conditions for a solid bounce, first hourly oversold conditions for a solid bounce, and looking for a daily high or low. If I want an entry on a daily high or low, I love making an initial scale-in entry on that first hourly oversold condition. We're in an hourly uptrend right now. And I would call anything above the low of today an hourly high or low. We have some action going on after hours, but depending on tomorrow's action, look at the hourly 12-period exponential support as a great visual guide. I would consider anything above 1365 an hourly high or low. We would have to lose the hourly uptrend to indicate a temporary top has been set. I'm watching for a temporary top to be set short term, looking for a volume climax as things are so overextended. So if you are looking for an entry, now is not the time to be looking for an entry, in my opinion. You are waiting for consolidation, ideally a daily high or low. But this name is thrusting itself significantly into the conversation over the last 3 days. And congrats to the bulls that were on it before then, certainly being rewarded, but is also now getting a lot more eyes on it since then. So now our lead US MSOs. We got TCNNF as the leader in my opinion because it hit blue sky breakout, and you've been watching the content recently, which hasn't been significant, but talking about the proximity to all-time highs for TCNNF, which is why it had my most attention, and we are now looking at a pullback. Anything above 21.18 is a daily high or low, and we're watching for first hourly oversold conditions for a daily high or low. Best case scenario, in my opinion, would see a red day tomorrow, drop down to the low 22s, and have an hourly oversold bounce align with 21.18 support. If we hold 21.18, the daily uptrend remains intact, and the bulls keep their full control. This is what I'm talking about volume. Volume over the past couple of days, we are looking at $15 to $20 million traded. Before this bull run up and this most recent leg in the last month plus, our average volume traded, we were looking at more like a few $1 million traded. This is a big leap up in terms of attention that we are seeing. So the daily uptrend is our guide. If we lose the daily uptrend, we zoom out and we look for a weekly high or low with tons of space for it to form, and bulls are salivating at the opportunity to buy a weekly high or low as we head into the fall, in my opinion. These names, because they're on the OTC and thinly traded, are primed for FOMO runs. GTBIF, also a lead bull. Look at the daily 12-period exponential support as a visual guide over the last month. Just stair-stepping this bull run up. Anything above 1410 is a daily high or low. Watch for first hourly oversold conditions. Watch for daily 12-period exponential support tests. And watch for 1410 support. As far as resistance goes, we know TCNNF is in blue sky breakout. GTBIF, after 1630 resistance, we're looking up at 1668. And look at after 1668 where the resistance is. Let's condense it to the weekly time frame. After 1668, resistance is very limited. That's when things open up significantly. 1984 is the next level after that. The bounce from the low has been massive. Again, look at the pattern. When is the last time we saw weekly consolidation? The answer is when the S&P 500 did. Obviously, the bull move up is way more significant, but the consolidation happened at the same point in time. That's not a coincidence. CURLF. Earnings reaction just came out after hours. They beat. That's the other thing. Everybody is having great earnings. And you look at the Canadian names and say, what in the world are you all doing if USMJ names are performing this way? And it's a big boost for the fundamental reason for being interested in the USMJ names over the Canadian MJ names. But we had great sideways consolidation, daily high or low of 836, bull break into earnings today, dollar volume. Again, it's double-digit millions, which is what the bulls want to see. Daily 12-period exponential support, great visual guide. We'll have to see what the reaction is tomorrow. As far as resistance goes, after 966, we're looking at 10 psychological, and then again, a lack of resistance to the all-time high, 1173. We are roughly 20% or so away from that all-time high, a little bit more than that, 25% or so. And again, weekly consolidation was in June with the S&P 500, and we'll be scouting a weekly high or low when daily uptrends are lost. CRLBF. breaking out. Why is it number 4? In short term, it's had great gains, and its earnings have yet to report, but it's number 4 because of how much resistance is yet to climb. We have to go through. We're 90% plus away from the all-time high. So TRUL had our eyes because of proximity to all-time highs. Now we got other names that are 20, 25% away. If you're 100% away, it's a long road ahead still. But that does not throw shade at the short-term bullish action with the daily 12-period exponential support as the guide. I would say our last daily high or low is 533. This has just been a non-stop bull run. And these little higher lows that you might look at here, it was just a lower open and then big green Maribozu candles keeping the bulls in complete control. We're very overextended, but bulls are hyping up heading into earnings, and every time one of its competitors and peers reports, the bulls keep responding well because they keep seeing bullish reactions to earnings and bullish beats. PLNHF is also forcing its way into the conversation. Dollar volume is getting up there. Again, back here, I don't care at all about this ticker. This ticker is putting in $500,000 of volume a day. But now, since July, everything has changed. The 20-day average volume is now looking at 3 to 5 million. Again, it's not your double-digit million, which is why it's not in the group of the major US MSOs, but it's notable and it's enough to trade for me. I need at least a couple million bare minimum, and it's there. We had a great daily tightening range that broke bullish. We're in blue sky breakout. So that's obviously very notable as well. Huge day today. Hourly uptrend. Hourly 12-period exponential support is our short-term guide. And again, we're watching for hourly oversold conditions on daily consolidation. Tons of space for a daily high or low. That's your back burner trade. If you are antsy and you want to be aggressive, I would be watching for entries on first hourly oversold conditions. Otherwise, patient bulls are waiting for weekly higher lows. The last entry that I made in this sector for a swing trade was TCNNF down here. And this was my anti-FOMO position. I said, all right, daily consolidation. I know a daily higher low is the most likely scenario. I entered here at $14.92, put a stop under the low of consolidation, $14, and then enjoyed a good chunk of this ride up. Definitely exited before the last leg up, but I was also adding to positions on the way up in scenarios that I liked. You know, if I saw hourly consolidation when we were just looking for an hourly high or low, I added to that position. And one of the adds that I made was right under all-time highs, anticipating a solid leg up when we got there. And again, just keeping risk very small, knowing that I am entering a bit late into a bull move, but as long as my risk is small and I'm playing off of trends, that's the way to do it. At this point, I will be watching for TCNNF first hourly oversold conditions for me to be interested again. Now we got our laggard names who are not responding bullish at all. CWBHF is not a US MSO. It's potentially a daily falling wedge. It's similar to ACB and Hexo. If you have been watching the Canadian MJ names, they've seen some bull moves recently where pretty much it's just bears running out of momentum after having control for over a month and the bulls getting some short-term upside. If we don't break 409 and 407 double top, then bulls prove nothing. It's just one of those setups where the sector is so hot that you watch the laggards, because we often see funds leave the leaders and go into the laggards, and rather than seeing funds leave a sector, we see it just rotate around within that sector. So that is what we're watching now. Can CWBHF break 409 to see a laggard move? Can HRVSF break 157 to see some continuation? Again, it's seen bull moves, but it's not nearly as comparable to the leaders in the space. If you want to keep it simple, watch the 4 leaders. If you want more risk and reward and a smaller cap name, PLNHF is in there. If you want liquidity, you're looking at GRWG and IIPR traded on the higher exchanges. Establish your game plans. Are you entering on first hourly oversold? Are you waiting for daily higher lows to be clearly set? Are you waiting for weekly consolidation to begin scaling in an entry? How many entries are you planning on making? What is your stop level going to be? How much risk in terms of dollar amounts are you willing to put on this play? All kinds of questions that you need to answer. I am personally going to be playing hourly oversold conditions. I will certainly be playing weekly consolidation looking for a higher low. It's not my ideal scenario. I wanted the USMJ boom to be on higher exchanges, but As I've said in the past, this is a potential unique opportunity where retail has the opportunity to get in before institutional investors. When you see IPOs, you see big money, you see banks getting in early, getting the great prices, and dumping on retail traders because of the laws and the structure and the fact that we're still Schedule 1 and the fact that we can't uplist, and because it's on the OTC, a lot of people can't get their hands on this space. It's a little window of opportunity for retail to have a time advantage over those big institutions and big banks. It's going to get exciting. It already has gotten exciting. Congrats to those that bought during the fear in COVID during March. And I'm excited for the ride. Do good things. Got a couple different kinds of peppers, a few different kinds of tomatoes, these weirdo tomatoes, bitter melons. I forget what this is called, something like a tiger melon. It's a little cantaloupe size of a softball. You trying to throw down, bro?